Hello, everyone. We are back for our second week of art school. This week's lesson was on the value scale. I went ahead and took notes and did some sketchbook practice on this lesson, drawing some spheres and pears, the boring part of school. But today we are going to work on a new painting. I went ahead and did the radiant underpainting off camera while I talked on the phone with my mom. We used bright colors to block in our composition, and our next steps is going to be to cover everything that we just did with a dark, cool glaze, and then use a subtractive tool to carve out our values. So let's go ahead and just jump into the painting. So we are back for our second day. We let this dry overnight, so hopefully we can finish this today. And I want to get done a little bit more than we did yesterday. On the schedule, we have finishing this with the opaque layer, doing a cardboard still life to study plane shifts, and then a new painting as well. What time is it right now? So it is 10:12. Let's go ahead and get started. As I rewatch these clips, I can remember the slight stress I was feeling comparing myself to the teacher's demonstration, wondering why mine doesn't look as nice as hers, even though I knew the painting will have a long, ugly stage before it really comes together. Now, being away from the painting, I want to remind myself to give total permission to be bad at this. This is the first time you're trying this ever. You cannot expect everything you create looks high level or you're going to get it just right the first time. In fact, embrace being bad and watch the journey of you growing with each bad piece you make. I'm a paint instructor at a sip and paint, and sometimes customers will say, well, why doesn't my painting look like yours? And I reassure them, it's okay, don't expect it to. Be proud of what you create today, because maybe you haven't picked up a brush since grade school and this is what you created. I've seen how inspired people became on TikTok with the coloring books. They watch creators' pages unfolding masterfully. Maybe you buy a whole new set of markers and pick up a few coloring books. You realize, okay, this might be a little harder than it looks. The coloring books become too embarrassing and we never pull out our new markers again. Just because we're not good at something from the start does not mean to quit. What if we didn't give up when things got hard? Instead, we got more curious, asked more questions. What is the problem and how can we improve it? When it comes to something that is truly important to us, the fear might be, but what if we fail? What if I never make it? When we decide to stop and leave our desires behind, that is the one way to guarantee that fear will come true. How many times have we been told that our dreams are nonsensical and we should pursue something real, or we are not capable enough, not talented enough? How many times have we let those words etch into the fabric of our being and scar us in ways we decided they were right, even if it's us saying it to ourselves? Maybe people have said to you that it's too difficult to have an art career. You should just do XYZ instead. But honestly, any route we choose is going to be hard. Learning new skills, applying yourself, gathering a client list, making connections, whatever it is. It's up to you to choose what path of hard you want to take. A quote that shifted my perspective entirely and made me tune into myself for trust is my favorite quote by Theodore Roosevelt. The woman or man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the woman who points out how the strong woman stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deed, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends herself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that her place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. So it has been 2 hours that I've been working on this. This is probably a good stopping point. This is the final result. Okay, so we're moving on to the lesson about plane shifts. This is my very impressive still life setup. The goal for this lesson is to really notice where these plane shifts are happening. You'll notice where the shading looks different. This is my light source here, so we can have extra light bouncing off to create more values. The tools and the materials we'll be using is some willow charcoal. I got 2 erasers here, our scale tool, and a smudger. last stride of the day. We are going to do the painting portion that goes with the drawing lesson about plane shifts. So we are going to be working on plane shifts for a portrait. So that is basically different colors for where we see contours in our face, where these shadows are. So this area is lighter, plane shift. This area now has a shadow. So that's basically what we're going to be blocking in with only 8 strokes. So as always, let me show you the reference. Like all of these lessons, I'll be doing the exercise 2 times. So this is the reference for my first picture, and this is the reference for the second one. Looking a little bit scary, but I'm gonna trust the process, reminding myself that a painting has a long, ugly stage until it gets better. While we work on this painting, I want to share a little bit on my journey that led me to investing myself to this point of enrolling in school. Back in middle school, when I was 13 years old, I began really struggling with my mental health, and my parents were struggling to know how to help me. They took me to therapy, and on my first day, I was actually admitted to the mental hospital and was prescribed medication. None of that was helping, maybe even making it a little worse. My dad had the idea to put me in an art studio on Fridays after school. He would drive home from work during peak rush hour to take me to the class and then head back to work. I will never forget what he did for me here because things started to actually turn around for me. I took myself to YouTube University and started learning everything I know from the amazing art Sherpa. I used to be hard on myself for not creating original art and only making generic, pretty paintings. Now I view that season of my life as my learning era. The best thing that came out of this time for me was actually the people I inspired to begin painting as well. Unfortunately, I started convincing myself that I am not good enough to sell my art. It is too difficult, takes too long, and people won't want to spend the money on it. Also now realizing that I didn't give myself an honest chance to build up my skills enough to get there. So instead, in 2020, I turned to resin to create affordable functional art. And I don't regret this pivot because I think it really gave me credibility and visibility as an artist on social media. It even led to my LLC Simon's House. I was doing so many vendor events, actually feeling so proud of the success I was creating for myself. It was the proof and validation I was searching for as an artist. But a few years later, I was feeling a sense of self-abandonment for not putting much energy into painting anymore. I knew I wanted to bring painting back into my life. And I feel like it was something I manifested because now I have a part-time job as a paint instructor. Slowly, I was ready to start creating art with more depth. In order to do that, I had to get in touch with my emotion. The two things that helped me come out of this block was therapy and my favorite book, Daring Greatly. It helped me identify all my emotions were suppressed due to the power of shame. Along with that, I joined a business coaching program called Metamorphosis that led to a paradigm shift within me. This program ultimately led me to stop dimming my light and unlearn the unconscious beliefs that led me to the self-abandonment in the first place. When my art moves someone to tears, it reminds me why I create in the first place. That's the kind of impact I want my work to have. It's one of the reasons I love painting pet portraits, capturing something so personal and meaningful for people. Recently, I discovered live wedding painting and it blew me away. The idea of capturing such a meaningful moment in real time, creating something that holds so much emotion and significance, it's special. But to create those high quality, lasting, and richly detailed paintings, I know I need to level up my skills. And a big crutch of mine is that I don't actually know how to draw, and that holds me back from creating the work I truly want to. Right now, I'm all about investing in myself, so I knew I had to take this seriously. Whether that means going to school or finding the right training, I'm willing to put in the work. I had my eye on the Milan Art Institute for a while, and I decided it's time to stop waiting. Let's take that leap and see where this journey can take us. I've built enough self-trust throughout the years of building my business that this is something I want to do. I chose this program over others because I love the particular art style they teach, and the instructors actually have in-depth experience on selling their work. So here I am, back on the road to actually giving the painting thing an honest chance. The final message I want to leave you with is when an idea comes into your mind, there's a reason why. It's not random, it's a spark, a calling, a glimpse of what's possible for you. Too often we dismiss these ideas thinking someone else could do it better or I'm not ready yet. But what if that idea chose you for a reason? What if it's waiting for you to bring it to life? Thank you so much for watching this video and being here with me. I thought this was the last step of the painting, but we actually needed one more day, so we need to allow this time to dry. If you want to see how these pieces come out in the end, then subscribe and I'll see you next time.